we're looking at Cameroon and its long-serving president, Paul Biya. 42 years in power. He's often called the Lion Man of Etoudi.
That's right, Etoudi, the presidential palace.
Yeah.
And it's a really critical time. Our goal here is to sort of unpack that 42-year reign, but also look at the context. There's growing pressure, from citizens, internationally.
Sure for him to step down.
Exactly. To allow for a peaceful transition, finally.
And just to give you, the listener, some perspective here, he's 92 years old now.
92.
Yeah.
Puts him right up there with the world's longest-serving leaders. Think Teodoro Obiang in Equatorial Guinea. It's a very, very small club.
So how did he even get there, and how did he stay there for so long? Let's dig into his rise.
Well, what's interesting is his initial ascent, it wasn't exactly a popular mandate.
Yeah.
He was born back in 1933, educated in France. A technocrat, really.
Yeah.
He became prime minister under Amadou Ahidjo, Cameroon's first president, in 1975. Very loyal.
Right.
Then, pretty unexpectedly, Ahidjo resigned in 1982. And he just handed the presidency over to Biya.
Just handed it over. No election.
Nope. It was all about personal trust, which, really set the tone for how Biya himself would govern later on.
Okay, so that explains the start. But 4 decades. How did he consolidate power like that? Especially when you see other long-term leaders eventually fall, his rule seems defined by, tight control.
Absolutely. Centralization is key. He became a master of institutional control. Think about it. He changed the Constitution, got rid of term limits so he could always run.
Ah, right.
The ruling party, the CPDM, is completely loyal to him, built around him, and crucially, he used patronage networks, rewarding loyalty, neutralizing threats before they became real challenges.
So he wins elections, but...
But international observers consistently flag them as, not free or fair. That's a constant criticism.
Okay, so there's the control aspect. But his supporters often bring up stability, don't they? That he's kept Cameroon relatively calm in a pretty volatile region.
That's the main argument in his favor, yes. And you have to admit, Cameroon has avoided some of the catastrophic wars its neighbors have seen.
But there's always a but.
There's a big but. Critics argue very strongly that this stability came at a huge cost.
What kind of cost?
The cost of democracy, for one. Economic progress, basic human rights. You can see the impact today.
Right, let's talk about today. Because the problems facing Cameroon now seem pretty severe.
They are mounting. You've got the Anglophone crisis, which is essentially a separatist conflict in the northwest and southwest regions. It's deeply rooted in that old French-English linguistic divide.
That sounds incredibly difficult.
It is. And add to that widespread youth unemployment, corruption, which is seen as endemic, and infrastructure that's really decaying in many places.
And the government isn't really tackling these.
There's a perception of unwillingness or maybe inability. And this fuels a lot of resentment. It's deepened by the fact Biya himself is rarely seen in public anymore.
That fuels rumors about his health.
Exactly. Intense speculation about his health, his capacity to actually govern. And this is shifting public opinion, in Yaoundé, Douala, places like that.
From just accepting it to actually calling for change.
Yes. We saw that quote from university student, didn't we? It summed it up.
Yeah, saying the country needs fresh energy, new ideas, and basically it's time for Biya to rest from power.
That sentiment is becoming much more common.
So where does that leave things? He doesn't seem like he's planning an exit strategy.
No sign whatsoever. And that's a critical uncertainty right now. The CPDM, his party, seems rock solid behind him.
And the opposition?
Still quite divided. They struggle to unite behind one potential successor. This makes the whole situation quite precarious.
So the future really hinges on what happens after Biya.
Entirely. Analysts are quite worried. They're stressing that a peaceful, well-managed, transparent transition is absolutely essential. If it's chaotic, if there's a power vacuum,
it could destabilize everything.
It could plunge the country into real turmoil. Preserving stability, even his own legacy, depends on getting this transition right.
It's undeniable after 4 decades, his influence is just immense. So for you, the listener, maybe a final thought to consider. What lessons can we draw globally from regimes like this, where stability seems prioritized over democratic change, especially when leaders stay on only until nature takes its course? What does that mean for the potential turmoil that often seems to follow?